come through. I'll give you another one to think about here. And here's one that here's, yeah, there you go. Here's one that comes directly from Paul's manual here. Can you, how your life would change if you let me just put in parentheses so that way you can then okay, so you can replace see with imagine, with visualize or dream. And what would you replace over here? Can you see how your life would change? Blank, an extra $5,000 each month for a small part-time effort.
Change for the better.
How your life would change for the better, and then you would say with an extra $5,000 each month, right? Okay. Or another way you can say it is, can you imagine how your life would change when you got an extra $5,000 each month for a small part-time effort? Okay. So some of these might require just a little bit more thinking there.
Can you imagine how your life would transform, would take off?
Oh, that's good. Direction? Yeah, would transform. Oh my goodness, that's an awesome one. Yeah, change instead of transform. So see, by doing a practice like this, you start with just one trial close, and now you have, 5, 6 of them, just different terms, and you use them throughout your presentation. So it's okay to repeat the same trial close over and over and over, just saying it a little bit differently. And as long as you are involving them, every single minute you are involving them, you're telling to do something, you're telling them to imagine something, you're telling them to raise their hand, you're telling them to answer your question, and notice, these questions are not, directly, a yes or no question. You have to be very, very careful with a yes or no question, unless you have a way to have leading questions, like, this does make sense to you, doesn't it? Exactly. Instead of, does this make sense to you? If you do say that, does this make sense to you? Then nod your head, right, to lead them to a yes. And so that way, you're not getting no. Get them to a bunch of little yeses, so that way at the end, when you're asking them to order, that you'll be able to get that. Okay. I'm still not seeing your email yet. Let's see. Okay, here you go from Dustin. Alrighty. After today, this is pretty much wrapped up the sales part, your presentation part of the course. So next week when we do this next week, it's going to be more of the technology part of the course. What technology you need.
Did you get it yet, Tim?
Yep, I got it. I'm downloading it as we speak right now.
Hey, Tim, by the way, what day next week? Are you going to be back to Tuesday?
Yeah, it's going to be back to Tuesday and Fridays again. Yeah, I apologize this last Tuesday. Paul Bauer held us there for until like 6:30 p.m. every single day. But for any of you who are considering taking Paul's Creating Your Clothes seminar, you should take it. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned a lot from it. What I've learned the most from it is watching Ernie Kessler going through his presentation, because he did a live presentation and they recorded that, and he must have closed like, I don't know, probably 40% of the room. I mean, it was a really, really powerful presentation, and I've learned a lot from watching it. And Paul let us record record the entire session. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be transcribing Ernie's presentation and go through and pick out all of his trial closes, all of his involvement, all of his stories, and find how I can use those in my presentation. And so you should do that. You should do that with anybody that you see that can close really well. If you have access to the audio of their presentation, just hire a transcriber to get it transcribed and go through every single line and take out as much as you can to put into your presentation. You definitely should do that. Well, as I'm waiting for this thing to download, I'm just going to read out some of some more trial closes for you that Ernie used, and so that way you can see how you might be able to use this. Okay. Okay. Here's one. Let me see here, folks. How many of you would like to be making 10% safely and securely on some money today? Folks, how many of you would have been as excited as I was? Absolutely. Folks, how many of you would have been smiling like I was that night? Absolutely. He uses absolutely, that's great, that's wonderful. He uses those terms a lot, especially after some of his trial closes, and that's also something good to use. It's called flattery. So you're basically you're flattering them for agreeing with you. Okay, so that's another one of those things in your trial closes that you can use. Can I see a show of hands? So how many? Oh, here's a really, really good one. I like this one a lot. Write this down. How many of you wouldn't mind sitting back each month and collecting a couple of checks just like a banker does? See how powerful that one is? Man, I'm going to use that one in my presentation. Using my system, okay? Using my whatever your system is, using my system. How many of you, how many of you can imagine yourself sitting back each month and collecting checks just like a banker does? All right, so that's a really good one. I like that. Let me see. Folks, how many of you would contact 20 people this weekend to put $3,000 to $4,000 cash in your pocket in the next few weeks? Of course. So, this is something Pat, I mean, this trial close I just read, that's something you definitely can use, you know. How many of you...
I'll write them down.
Yeah. That's a good one. And Dustin, you can use that one too. You can say something like, folks, how many of you would contact, would contact just two banks? Well, two. How many of you would contact just two banks this weekend to put an extra $60,000 to $120,000, business lines of credit for your business in the next few weeks? Right? That's a good one. And so you would tell them, folks, some courses out there might have you believe that you have to apply for like 20 different banks. No, in my course, I show you exactly which bank you can contact that will give you the most amount of business lines of credit. So that way, all you have to do is contact one or two banks, and that's it. That's all you need, right? So you can do something like that. Okay. Ernie is he's in the mortgage business, and he lend money, so he used this one. How many of you think that you could handle a phone call where you made a call to people and offer them Ernie Kessler's money? Could you do that? Absolutely. Okay, here's another good one. Write this one down. How many of you would like to have a home-based business where there's no selling of any type involved, where you could make thousands of dollars over and over again? Absolutely. Pat, that's a good one for you, because like in your Cashflow Keys, they don't need to sell anything. Okay, let me see. There was another one that was really, really good. Let me. I'm looking at my notes here. There was one about. Here's. You're gonna like this one, Pat. This one's also very applicable to you because you teach them how to go after real estate agents to find them deals. So you would say something like this. Is there anyone here or in the webinar say, any of you would like to make money while others do the work? Like any of you would like to make money while others do the work? So that's also another good one. Dustin, how you would use that one would be folks. Any of you would like to have money? Any of you would like to have money without ever showing your personal credit reports? So that would be a good one. All right. Phone access. Okay. How to get $93,000 in the next 90 days? That's good. How to get $93,000 in the next 90 days? Okay. Dustin Matthews. Okay. A couple of things here. I normally don't like to put my website here. Okay. I'm gonna, and the reason being is because, I want them to be totally focused on this presentation. I don't want them to wander around, try to go to another website during my presentation. And also, too, your promoters a lot of times, they don't like that. They don't like you putting your website there because you're driving traffic away from them. Let's go back up here. Let's take a look at this headline. Who wants to try to create a better hook for Dustin? Dustin teaches about business lines of credit, and how to get business lines of credit. So who want to give it a try and give me a better headline for his presentation? Frank, you want to give it a try? Oops.
I do. I'm thinking.